My name is Linh. I'm just an ordinary girl from Saigon who once dreamed of living a quiet, warm life. At 27, I moved to San Francisco to pursue my master's degree in communications. Falling in love wasn't part of the plan. I came here to study, work a bit, then maybe return to Vietnam. But everything changed on a breezy September afternoon, while I was waiting for the bus in the Mission District. I was tucked into my hoodie when a man approached and asked with a warm smile, "Excuse me, is this stop for the 33 line?" I turned and saw a tall guy with messy blonde hair, blue eyes, and a soft California glow. That was Dan. We ended up on the same bus, sitting next to each other. That's how it all began. Dan was a software engineer from a small town near Oregon. I was a quiet Vietnamese girl who drank hot tea and smiled too much when nervous. We started with coffee after class, walks along Embarcadero, and cooking weekends. He tried my spicy spring rolls, and I helped him make American pancakes. Once he ate something so spicy that he teared up, but smiled through it and said, "Your food burns, but your smile heals. Worth it." We didn't notice when we fell in love. Even with cultural gaps and awkward language moments, Dan was patient, gentle, and always made me feel seen. After 9 months, Dan invited me to Oregon to meet his family for Thanksgiving. I was terrified. My first time in a real American home, meeting the people who raised the man I loved. I prepared gifts carefully, lotus tea for his mom, Vietnamese coffee for his dad, and a silk scarf for his grandma. I even practiced a few phrases in local slang. His mom opened the door with a big smile and hugged me tightly. "So this is the famous Linh. We've heard so much about you." His dad was quieter but kind. He pulled out a map so I could show him my hometown. But what shocked me most was when they played a video of Dan failing to use chopsticks while making bonseo with me. They had been watching our moments from afar. That day I didn't feel like a guest. I felt like I already belonged. After that, our bond deepened. We started creating our own little traditions, carving pumpkins on Halloween, writing Vietnamese cards for my family at Christmas, sharing mooncakes on Mid-Autumn Festival. Dan never asked me to change. He said, "You don't have to blend in, Linh. You already belong." Then, on a quiet February afternoon, Dan took me to Golden Gate Park, to the place where we first kissed. He looked nervous, checking his watch. By the lake, he stopped, knelt down, and opened a small red box. "Linh, I don't just love you, I admire you. Will you marry me and keep laughing at my dad jokes for the rest of our lives?" I cried. I didn't know if it was joy, relief, or the feeling of finally being home, not in a place, but in a person. We planned a small wedding in the Oregon woods. My family couldn't come because of visa issues, but we live-streamed everything. I wore a red ow dye, like I promised my mom. Dan waited under warm fairy lights, wearing a gray suit, eyes glowing. The string quartet played La Vie en Rose. We exchanged vows. In English and Vietnamese, I told him, "I can't promise to be a perfect cook, but I promise to listen, share, and hold your hand, even in snowstorms or when life gets tough." He smiled and replied in shaky Vietnamese, "An uem, tu lundo an bun ba." I love you, since the first time I ate beef noodle soup. Everyone laughed, and just like that we became husband and wife, completely, officially, and beautifully. After the wedding, we moved close to his parents. I worked in multicultural communications, and Dan continued as an engineer. But every evening, we had Vietnam time. Phones off, dinner together, sometimes Trin Kong Sun music playing softly in the background. He learned to say, Ngon Qua Troi Luan, and I learned to bake the perfect apple pie. I used to think love across cultures was complicated. But now I know. Language can be learned, culture can be embraced, as long as the heart is real and both people walk forward together. And if you're wondering, can love between two different worlds really last? Then I, Linh, the girl from Saigon, would say, not only is it possible, it's the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me. This is only the beginning of my journey. Married life, cultural shocks, homesickness, motherhood. There's so much more to share. If you saw a part of yourself in this story, or if you simply love love stories from across the world, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Vietnamese Wife in the US. Hit the bell so you won't miss the next chapter. I'm Linh, and I'm so glad you're here with me. See you in the next video.